Hey Canucks fans, Jim Rutherford said today that there is no urgency to trade JT Miller, and that's certainly going to test the patience of some Canucks fans. I'm Canuck Clay, and this is my Canucks take all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Friday, July the 15th. If you're new, here's what you should do. Hit the subscribe button now for daily Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. Thanks for all of your great feedback to my vlog that I recorded yesterday afternoon between the wedding and the wedding reception from my mom's place. I was trying to rattle off different types of line combinations, and I messed up a couple times trying to memorize 15 or 16 different names, including some new players. And a couple of you really funny comments said stuff like, get a whiteboard or start to use some graphics so you don't get so confused. I admit it wasn't my finest moment, but my point is still the same. We now have a lot of options at forward, and I can't wait to see what the Canucks end up doing with some of those options and potential line combinations. And a big part of that right now is still JT Miller. I know we talked about him a lot on this vlog over the past month, but that's because he is top of mind for Canucks fans right here and right now. Jim Rutherford was on the Donnie and Dhali show this morning, their last show before they break for about 6 weeks for the rest of the summer. And it was actually an interesting start to the interview. Rick Dhaliwal asked Jim Rutherford what's going on with JT Miller. Canucks fans are getting impatient. And then Rutherford responded, well, what are they impatient about? There's no urgency. And then Don Taylor shot back, how about 50 years with no Stanley Cup here? And then Rutherford actually got a bit defensive and said, well, he's not the one that's been spreading the rumors about JT Miller. He's not the one that's starting the rumors. It's always the media. And then from there, it was okay, and they were fine. They're still best friends at the very end. But it was a very, very telling exchange. And Jim Rutherford went on to say that to him, for the club, there's no urgency right now to trade JT Miller. They did what they wanted to do during free agency in that they added a lot to their forward group, bringing in Hsmfangirl, as we knew, Mikheyev, Lazar. Then you're hoping on even more development from guys like Podkolzin, Hoglander, and of course, Pettersson. They also know they have a really good goalie in Demko, an all-star level goalie, and then they know that they don't have enough cap space to play around in free agency with the defense, so they're going to have to improve the defense via trade, and that's all part of their master plan. But the point is, they got what they wanted to get done in free agency with respect to the forwards, and that includes JT Miller. Rutherford's point is this: he was their best forward last year. He scored 99 points, top 10 in the league. Over the past 3 seasons, he's a top 12 forward in terms of points over those past 3 seasons. So obviously, he's one of the best players in the league right now. So in his eyes, there's no urgency to trade JT Miller. Now, I'll say this. As a content creator, it's always a fine balance between clickbait, which I try so hard not to do, between clickbait and talking about the topics that are top of mind for Canucks fans, those that are going to be the most intriguing and create the most interest. And sometimes that line isn't always clear. And I can admit, when I got caught up in it a little bit during the draft, when there's a lot of talk about, man, now's the time to trade JT Miller. New York Islanders asking about JT Miller, which was never confirmed. All these rumors happening around draft time. And I get it. There's a lot of buzz around the Canucks because they had a pretty good draft and they had a pretty good day of free agency a few days later. So I wouldn't say I got caught up in the fact that trying to just get views and things, but I got caught up in the fact that I wanted to talk about what all Canucks fans were talking about, and that is indeed JT Miller. So I'm going to be very careful, as I always am, about walking that line. And sometimes it may blur a little bit, but I just kind of want to give you a glimpse into kind of my thinking when I'm coming up with topics for these vlogs. So when I hear Jim Rutherford on Donnie and Dhali basically defending, getting a bit defensive, and talking about they'd be fine to have JT Miller to start the season, I think that's important to talk about. And we know why. I said he's a great forward, 99 points, one of the best forwards over the past 3 years in the entire league. Leadership, a bit of bite, a bit of the sandpaper that the Canucks are looking for, and he simply just keep the Canucks go as he goes kind of thing, him and Petey, at least when it comes to the forwards. We've also talked about why it's important to look at moving him now. And that's not clickbaity, that's the reality. Around the draft, you could have had up to 31 teams interested in Miller, but it sounds like it was certainly a lot fewer than that. In fact, Rutherford and Alvin said they didn't get any trade calls on Miller. I'm not sure you believe that or not. We know that his value, the value that you're going to get from him, probably dipped a little bit once you got through the draft, dipped a bit more after the first day of free agency because other teams are signing other players. They have less money to spend now to fill out their teams. And then of course, as the season goes on, there's the risk of injury, there's the risk of he doesn't duplicate his 99-point season, and especially at the trade deadline, there's the risk of only being 2, 3, or 4 teams that are true suitors for JT Miller as opposed to the entire league. And that's what Jim Rutherford said. He said, we can become impatient, we can feel urgency if there's a month to go in the season and JT Miller is still a Vancouver Canuck and still not able to come to terms with the team on a potential extension. But what about this, Canucks fans? What happens if, amazingly, the Canucks are atop the Pacific Division come trade deadline time? What happens if the Canucks are second or third in a playoff position at trade deadline time? What happens if even they're fighting for a wild card spot? How motivated are the Canucks going to be to move JT Miller at that point when instead they might be gearing up for an actual surprisingly long playoff run? That's the intriguing part to me. And maybe we don't have to worry about it for another 8 or 10 months, but I think that's something that we have to have in the back of our mind. What happens if the Canucks overachieve this season and they're in the thick of a playoff race, and then you still do one of 3 things. You trade JT Miller for a haul, hopefully then, of likely futures and prospects, but you basically be hurting your chances to make the playoffs this season. You can keep him and then try and re-sign him, and maybe for a term, money that you like, obviously, but that's a little bit risky. Or the third option is the worst option, but it could very well happen, is you let him walk. You keep him for that playoff run, and if you're not able to sign him and not able to get anything for him, because teams then, the closer you get to free agency, they'll say, well, why would we trade for him when we can just try and sign him on the open market? Then there's that risk as well. So I think that's why this story is so intriguing. That's why what Jim Rutherford said today was so intriguing as well, that there's no sense of urgency to trade JT Miller right here, right now. And I think if they had their way, they would go into the season with him on the roster and see what this group of players can do. So Canucks fans, let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to know, now that the draft has passed, now that the start of free agency has passed, things are calming down a little bit in terms of the Canucks. Would you be okay if the Canucks started the season with JT Miller in the lineup? Obviously it makes their lineup that much stronger, makes them so much deeper down the middle or on the wing, wherever he plays. Or do you still think it behooves the Canucks, I love that word behoove, do you still think it behooves the Canucks to try and move him now because his value is only going to drop as the season goes, and you're not a firm believer that the Canucks will be able to re-sign him to a contract extension? Or maybe just type in below, maybe you really want him to sign a contract extension no matter what the money, no matter what the term, because you believe in him that much as a player. So Canucks fans, let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments below. I love to read, react, and reply as always. Shout out to my sponsors, Perform Transform, Personal Training and Weight Loss, and Advanced City Experts Real Estate Group. And to thank you to legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Justin Credible, legendary Andrew Chang, and to Hall of Fame members and franchise members as well. By the way, Lucas set up a Discord server for members only. So it's an unofficial perk of this of the CCC channel. If you're a member, either franchise, Hall of Fame, or legend, you'll see that link on my members only page on my community tab. Members tab on my community page. And I don't know how much I'm going to be in there. I know nothing about Discord, but at least I should probably pop in there once in a while to see what's happening, even though I have no clue what to do, and I'll probably end up wrecking it. All right, Canucks fans, subscribe if you'd like to, like this video if you'd like to, become a member or upgrade if you'd like to, leave a super tip, a super thanks or a tip if you'd like to, and definitely leave a comment down below if you'd like to. Now, on July 15th, what do you want the Canucks to do with JT Miller? Finally, you made it this far in the video, nine minutes in. It's the weekend, so just type in the word weekend. I'm excited for the weekend. My boys are back from Montreal, looking forward to seeing them. So yes, type in the word weekend, then I know you made it to the end of this video. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Have a great day, God bless, and go Canucks go.